Gossett,
Montel Williams,
Victoria Rao,
Jack Canfield,
Lisa Nichols,
Michael Jackson,
Timmy Hedren,
Bob Hope,
Oprah Winfrey.
In a world of glitz and glamour, they stand in the spotlight, showcasing incredible talents in music, in film, in television. Yet away from the bright lights, they continue to shine. Welcome to Raven's Celebrity Rave. For the next 30 minutes, you'll hear about celebrities past and present who share a desire to help others, advance their causes, and make a difference in the lives of others around the globe. It's not just about their lifestyles, fortune, and fame. It's about their hearts. Celebrities making a difference and paying it forward. The red carpet is rolled out as we celebrate these extraordinary celebrities.
Hello and welcome to Raven's Celebrity Raves. I'm Kiva Lothridge-Mack, the host of Funky Mystic Radio. I'm so excited to introduce you to a private and intimate taping with Lou Gosset Jr. But before we bring Lou on, I'd like to introduce you to our hosts, Raven Blair Davis and Khalid Glover. Grammy Award-winning engineer Khalid Glover will not be joining us tonight, but we do wish him well wishes in his absence. So let me introduce you to Raven, tonight's host. Raven Blair Davis is an award-winning talk show host, celebrity interviewer, and founder of the Amazing Women of Power radio network. Raven has interviewed celebrities such as Montel Williams, Russell Simmons, Sherry Shepard, Lindsay Wagner, Kim Fields, and I could go on and on. But you know what? Tonight is not about Raven, and it's certainly not about me. It's about spotlighting another celebrity that's making a difference and paying it forward. So without further ado, here is your host, Raven Blair Davis.
Woohoo! I tripped them darn Jimmy Choo shoes again. Uh-oh. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Raven Celebrity Rave. I tell you, this red carpet, you never know when you're going to slip, so you got to walk with poise. Show you right, show you right. Hi, this is Raven, a.k.a. the Talk Show Maven, and welcome to an intimate evening with none other than the multi-talented, award-winning actor Lou Gosset Jr. He's here tonight. He's going to share a little bit of his stories, some of his, of course, his accolades. We want to talk about his triumphs as well as some challenges and maybe some disappointments that he may have experienced along his journey. But most of all, we've got Lou here to talk about some things that are very dear to his heart. He's got some projects that he's working on. We're not going to give the word out on it now. We'll talk about it in the interview. But mainly he has a organization, a foundation that he started that he's truly passionate and very committed about, and that's why I really wanted to have him here tonight, because, you know, this show is all about giving back, and we say, you know, we bring on the celebrities, but I truly feel everybody's a celebrity. Anyone can be a celebrity in their neighborhood just by taking someone to the doctor, helping them get to the store. There's so much that we can do to give back, and this is what this show, we're hoping, will empower and inspire you to do. So without further ado, I like to say, if you stand and sit down, and if you sit and stand up, because the man is here. Yes, he is none other than Lou Gosset Jr. Hey, Lou, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Okay.
Everything is wonderful, wonderful. Man, I am so glad that we finally are able to bring this on. You're out there doing some amazing things that I'm sure a lot of the listeners, Lou, don't have a clue about. The more I read on you and did my research, the more I found out, oh, my goodness, you really, really have a heart for giving back. I'd just like for you, before we get into our questions, kind of share your passion for giving back.
Well, I think it's part of our natural tendencies, and we've kind of drifted away from that from the old days. When we were kind of sequestered into a minority society and a black neighborhood, a black culture, off to the side, and we dipped into one another, we had no choice but to take better care of one another on our blocks and our families. A child couldn't go out of the door without being dressed properly, without having self-respect and be clean and representable of the family and the neighborhood, and all that has disappeared. So now my foundation is to tell children that they are already in the promised land. And
I like that.
That they may not be prepared to go through the door of opportunity because nobody taught them. Mm-hmm. A lot of those kids who have not been taught are in jail, and they don't know why they're there. And I think some of the gangbangers, when they shoot the guns, they're saying, pay attention to me. Tell me what I should and should not do. So whatever it is, for what it's worth, is my program.
Yeah, I like that.
And there's information about our history, about our behavior patterns, what's expected of us, our respect for ourselves and our elders and our opposite sex, our dress, our pride and our history, and the knowledge of somebody else who has a different kind of history, and respect of that, so that we can have one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for who?
For all.
That's what it's supposed to be, but that's not the way it is right now.
Mm-mm.
So it has its enemies who want things to stay the same, but everything must change, as Quincy and Stevie say. Everything constantly changes, and if we just get on that train and encourage our young, everything will be all right. But if we put our poisons into them, then we have to do it again in the next generation.
That's so strong. And one of the things I liked about what you said when you talked about, the songs and sometimes them shooting your gun and stuff, it's a cry for help, even the way they dress and stuff.
Pay attention to me.
Mm-hmm.
A child does that in a high chair in the kitchen with the food on the tray, and mama's on the phone too long. Food's going on the floor. So children have been objecting to that for a long time. The food's on the floor.
Yeah, we got to pay attention. Stop
Pay attention.
Turn in looking the other way. Let's go back, and then we're going to talk a lot more about that part of it, because I know some things you're doing, but I want to hold it to the end. So let's kind of just take you back. I know you've got, over 50 years in entertainment, so there's a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of try to, touch a little bit on that. I know you work with some greats. I mean, Ruby Dee, Sidney Poitier, A Raisin in the Sun. How was that? Because that was when you were young. How was that as a young man?
Oh, that was outstanding. Ruby, the understudy was Ossie Davis, and then there was Douglas Turner Ward, who was another understudy, and before that, when I was 17, my first play, Take a Giant Step, and I was still in high school. My father was the late Frederick O'Neill, who was the first black president of Actors Equity.
Oh, okay.
And Maxine Sullivan, and Estelle Hemsley played my grandmother, and Jane White, the daughter of Walter White, who started the NAACP. And so those were my first mentors. Max Glanville opened up his theater back in Harlem. Helen Martin. I mean, they were all teaching me. They all took good care of me. So I've been taken care of as a young man all the way through Shirley Booth in the desk set, and some great actors, hanging out with the Brandos and Anthony Quinns, and my teacher Frank Silvera, who was with all of those guys, and Viva Zapata, and the Appaloosa, great actor, he was my teacher, him and Bea Richards. And so I'm very lucky to have rubbed elbows with Lonnie Elder III, and Douglas Turner Ward, and Robert Hooks, and Ivan Dixon, Diana Sands, obviously. Just some wonderful people. Cicely Tyson later on, somewhere else in another production. James Baldwin, you name them. So I'm very, very, very lucky.
My goodness. Those were some greats. Wow. Whew. Okay, so what age did you start in acting? Was, 17 or younger?
17, still in high school. I'd never seen a play. And the society that I came from in Brooklyn was supposed to be the communist section, but it was just left-wing. That's when the unions were formed. The Actors Union was formed. The Labor Union was formed. And these were the intellectual cream of the crops who wrote those laws. These intellectual giants from the universities had to run because they were going to be, their jobs would be taken away. So they came to New York City, and they joined the educational system. And I grew up with them and their children and their neighborhoods. The neighborhoods represented the way they thought about it. So you had, if my parents didn't get home at 6 o'clock for dinner, I had real choices. I had a choice of the Russians, or the Italians, or the Irish, or the Filipinos, or the other blacks down the streets. I got fried chicken, or menudo, or gefilte fish, or whatever. Whoever got home in time, that's what the table we sat in. And that's how we grew up together. And we would create a renaissance. So early on, we created this renaissance, and that's where the Barbara Streisands and the Harvey Keitels and Neil Simons and Woody Allens and Barbara, all those particular people came out of that society. So I was one of them, and so did Sidney Poitier came out of there, and Belafonte, and of course all the folk singers. We took very good care of one. We were sensitive, at least, to it. Then when I got on the plane and came to California, they were not on the same page.
Big difference, huh?
Oh, night and day.
So it had to be truly missed by you. How hard was it for you to transition to the new way of things? Well,
they gave me some indications because, in the West Coast, where all Hollywood was, all the movies were started, all the money and stuff was in television and in movies, everything was in New York. And then when I started to go back to the West, we started to shuttle. And I was with the William Morris Agency, the best in the business, and I was called by Lou Wasserman, the head of the Universal, to do the very first movie of the week. So they treated me kind of like a king, like they treated Brandon and all those other guys. And I was in first class, and they sliced the food at your table, and a limousine came out to the tarmac and picked me up, took me to the Beverly Hills Hotel. Everything was wonderful. So I got out on the street for a rental car, and it took me, for a 20-minute drive, it took me 4.5 hours to get from one place to another. Every cop in town, I had to see who this guy was. Convertible, I had to put the top up. I had to stop putting that Sam Cooke music on the air in Sunset Boulevard. So 4.5 hours of police. And then that night they handcuffed me to a tree for walking around looking at the movie stars' homes.
Oh,
that was the first 24 hours. From there on, I had to just do a Jackie Robinson, if you could think of that. So what you saw was, my freest part was in front of the camera. When it said rap, I split.
Got away, huh?
Oh, yeah.
My goodness, that had to really impact you as far as, I truly believe that probably had a lot to do with you and your foundation, which we're going to be talking about later, which is the Racism Foundation. Yeah, I can see why.
I didn't arrive at the foundation. I was just angry and I had resentments. And I just said, why should I have to win all these awards and isolate and listen to a person or people who want me to act a certain way that means that I'm second class? And I just couldn't do it. I did it, but I just did it a little responsible. And I hung out with the people who also rebelled, the hippies. And that's where I at least could breathe. But that's also where I got into a little drugs and alcohol, and that didn't work at all. That made, now look. So I had to back off of that. And out of that comes this freedom to write this book. And they get what they call the keys to the kingdom. And it is, as you said at the beginning of the program.
Yeah, an officer and an actor.
We give back. We give back.
Yeah.
And that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we did when we were by ourselves, and that's what we have to do now to make this country better.
We applaud you for all that you're doing, for sure. Your book that you mentioned, an actor and an officer and an actor, right?
And a gentleman.
And a gentleman. Yeah. And so tell us, when did you do that? When did you write that book?
I did it about a year and a half ago, and it hit the market. And what we're trying to do now is I want to buy the book from the publishers because I don't think they were prepared for me to say what I said in the book.
Well, it's a good book. Let me see. Okay, so have you really promoted it really big, or you think about maybe turning it into a movie?
I sell out, but I don't think they're doing much.
Yeah, okay.
I think the best thing to do is for me to sell it myself, because every time I sell it myself, I sell out.
Is it going to be a movie one day?
Well, we'll see. I'd like to do the one-man show and do the audio of it, and go from there. But I'd like to have more control over the sale of my book.
Yeah. Got some great chapters in there, an actor and a gentleman. And for those people that want it, are you selling it right off your site, or they go to Amazon, or?
Well, they can order it from the site, and we'll send it to them there.
Okay.
We'll send it with an autograph. This is where they can get the autograph books from the site.
What's the website there?
It's eracismfoundation.org.
Okay,
eracismfoundation. The word racism with an E in front of it.
Good deal. We'll make sure we'll put that out as well. Okay, let's talk about Roots. Now, how were you when you were acted in that movie?
What? Say it again?
Roots. You played in Roots, right? That's where you got an Emmy and a Tony for, correct?
Yes, that's true. With Quincy, I did the field holler. Because Quincy didn't even think about the field holler, but that's what it was. What's that shining in the sky? Sun fiddler. Anyway.
No, you had it going. Keep it going. So how were you when you started in that?
In Roots? I was in my late 20s or early 30s, somewhere like that.
Okay.
And I got the part that was the most challenging. The first black that Kunta Kinte meets in America. You're no more in Africa. You hear me, Kunta? You're in America now. You're no more in Africa. That's those famous words. And what all that means, being no more in Africa, I had to teach him how to stay alive, how to survive, and still be happy. That was the job.
Strong, very impactful.
That's you and I are sitting here today because of those fiddlers.
Absolutely.
There's a fiddler in baseball, a fiddler in basketball, fiddler in law, fiddler in politics. If it wasn't for those fiddlers, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to each other on the radio.
Now, when you starred in that movie,
Mm-hmm.
What changes did you encounter after that, as far as being black, having that movie? I mean, that was a powerful movie back
Very
then
powerful.
for blacks.
It surprised everyone that it was received so much, because they used to use the excuse that we can't do this because the South won't buy it. And the South was the first to buy it, and then the rest of the world. It surprised everyone.
Wow.
But there was no work for us for about a year after that, till they developed some stuff for us. It took about a year for us to get back to work.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They weren't prepared for us to be that successful.
It was huge. And I mean, a lot of people were happy about the movie, and it made a lot of people mad, But it was very, very impactful, and it was great.
The truth, huh? Yeah.
Huh?
The truth is the truth.
Yeah. Some people couldn't face it, and it was good for people that didn't know, especially the younger ones coming up during that time, that didn't really have to experience the different prejudice and all the stuff that was going on, slavery and stuff back there. So it was good to bring that to the forefront.
Well, we know all about the Holocaust and other atrocities. We had to know about ours, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you're sitting in the audience, and they're saying, they're calling out these names. I think it was, Robert Preston, James Mason, Charles During, John Lithgow. And then they say, and the Oscar goes to, dun-dun-dun, Louis Gosset Jr. How did you feel when you heard your name?
I had talked myself into being just one of the five. I said there was no way they're going to give me the Oscar over James Mason and Robert Preston. This is their last movies. They're not going to do another movie. So one of those two is going to have that Oscar, and I'm going to stand up and applaud it. So I was kind of off. And my agent said, they said your name, and get up there. And I got up, and everything I was going to say, I forgot. So at the end, I said, well, for you other four guys, this is ours.
That was awesome. What a wonderful moment. Did that bring more opportunities for you or not so?
It took a minute. Like Roots, it took a minute. But I didn't get any work for about a year or so. But I was doing a television series, and that was good enough. But that series was canceled. And then I did a lot of research on people of history, the Jomo Kenyatta and the great cowboys. I couldn't get to an opportunity to do those.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important because I grew up with the Paul Newmans and the Marlon Brandos and George C. Scotts. They got a chance to do their history. The Napoleons and the great Germans and Exodus, and they did all their history. I figured that would be me next, and that didn't happen. But it's about to happen now, and I'm glad that we have the opportunity to do those stories about the great cowboys, the great soldiers, and we can rely on us to tell the story properly. So it's things happen when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah, when the timing is right. It seems that when things are in alignment, things just start to happen. And that's what's really going on for you. I mean, you got a lot of things going on right now. And so this is a good time for you, right?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
I belong to the big guy, G.O.D.
Mm-hmm.
He tells me how to think and what to do and how to feel, and selfless service. It's a natural thing to do, to be a mentor at this age, for what it's worth.
Yeah, you're big on mentoring, that's for sure. I know you got a YouTube television program called For What It's Worth. Tell us about that.
Yeah, yesterday I had a wonderful time in my backyard with the new Barcays. You remember the old Barcays?
Okay.
The two originals were here, and plus they filled up. You know what happened to the other ones, right? They died with Otis Redding in the airplane.
Oh, that's right, they did.
That's right.
Wow.
So I sat there and I looked at them, and there's the two originals, and I said, you know what, we can talk about the Barcays, we can talk about the Otis Redding, but I want to know, I want to know more about your childhood in Memphis, Tennessee, when the time you were growing up, and bring us up to date about that town. It's got so much history. It's got the blues history. It's got the crossroads history with Robert Johnson. Then there's Elvis Presley, and obviously there's Dr. King. So what was going on the streets of Memphis? What was going on in the subculture? And those guys got loose, and we had an incredible show.
Well, from what I seen on the YouTube, your message to everyone about this, for what it's worth, it sounds like this is something you truly have a passion for, and you're excited about it. And this is going to be, what, like once a month we can expect new videos?
Well, when I get back from my work, I have 6 weeks of a movie to do.
Okay.
So when I get back, I'll put 3 or 4 of them together. So hopefully it's once a week.
That's going to be great.
When I get back. So I've got one out. I may have a chance to do one more, maybe up there in Canada. But as I go through my life, I can see what I want to talk about on that show. So I might happen to have some stuff up there in Canada. We'll see. Because it's not just a black show. There's some of the Indians have stories, both the Canadian and American Indians. And I'm part of India. I'm part Indian anyway. But there's some wonderful stories that every child, especially ours, needs to know about their history and about how they think. Because the matters are left up to them, and they haven't been on the planet long enough. They need to hear some other stories, some examples of how to behave and what to think, and connecting the dots. They need to be informed.
I read a quote that you said, a couple of them that's interesting to me. I'd like to get your comments on. One was, I read a quote where you said, when I'm offered a role, I look at what I think I can do with it. I look to see if I can project myself into it. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. What can I do? What kind of statement can I make with this role? Am I going to do good and not bad? I'm going to elevate this. It's the letter E, which Frank Severa taught us about. You elevate, educate, entertain, encourage. Any of those things the role can do from beginning to end of the movie, it becomes exciting because there's what they call the arc, A-R-K. You start from one thing, and by the time it's ever over, you've grown to another. It's a nice little voyage in front of the people, and if they can follow you and get involved in what you're doing, it's a wonderful trip. I had to do that with Enemy Mine, and nobody saw me because I had all that makeup on. But that voyage of that character, the people followed it. It's just exciting.
Wow, that is exciting. Your favorite movie that you've done so far?
I have a couple. I'm very lucky to have a couple. Officer and Gentleman, of course, The Roots, and then, of course, Enemy Mine.
Enemy Mine.
And there's Iron Eagle, and especially the story of Anwar Sadat.
Ah, okay.
But there's a couple of small ones that I have involved with. The Gathering of Old Men and J.D.'s Revenge. It comes on from time to time with Glenn Turman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you said you get ready to go do a movie now?
Yes, I'm ready to go to Canada to do a movie called Pride of Lions. And it's 4 grandparents, 3 men and 1 woman, who decided they've had enough of life, and their grandsons have been captured by Afghani terrorists up in the mountains. And nobody's giving them any satisfaction. So they go to the United Nations, and they come back, and they go to Afghanistan to find their sons themselves, the grandsons themselves. So it starts out comedic, and then it gets serious.
Wow, that's going to be nice. So you're going to be in Canada shooting that one and probably come out next year, you're thinking?
Yeah, probably. Called The Pride of Lions.
Pride of Lions.
Yeah.
And then there's Smitty, right? Is that the...
Smitty's coming out. Yeah, that's my faith-based stuff. The feel-good movies. And Smitty is me, and Smitty is also a dog. So they tell you, whatever you do, don't do a movie with an animal and a child, and I did one with both. Can't tell me what to do.
I seen a preview of that. It looked like it was a great movie. And again, you were playing a mentor role.
That's right. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot of fun at this age. I don't want to be Superman. Not this age. I got to be quiet down and give them some experience, strength, and hope.
Right. Let me see. I was looking at something on YouTube. I believe it was when you were talking about your TV program, and you said something that really, really stood out to me. You said, if you think your life is over, you're wrong. It's just beginning. And you talked about the stages of life. Share with us about that. I thought that was phenomenal.
Well, there's a poem. It's called The Stages of Man. I wish I knew it by heart, but I'll do it to you but I wish it was in front of me. But look for yourself. It's called The Stages of Man. And I think it's Shakespearean. It's how we become certain things at certain ages. And when you think that your life is over, you got that shopping cart or there's nothing to do but you watching TV, you're wrong. As long as we're alive, there's a job for us to do. The way we used to be in the good old days. We never quieted down and watched television and shut up. We always had something to do with helping the next generation, learn and grow up. It's like the old African tribal laws. We all had something to do.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
Do you think things have changed now for the aspiring or people that get off the bus and they go to Hollywood? Do you think because of a lot of the roles you had and others in the past and a lot of things you've done, you've paved the way to make it a little bit easier for those getting into that now, especially African Americans?
I think it's easier, not just in Hollywood, but thank God for the Magic Johnsons and the Andrew Young Juniors, which is the Bounce Network and the Aspire Network. We have other venues. We don't have to go to Hollywood to do it anymore. And, of course, the revamping of TV One and BET has found their dimension and their character, and even Oprah's show. But there's others. Now we are the networks that do that for us. There's some relevant programming on all those networks. Now that they've found their niche, their trademark, wow, you're going to see those networks explode.
That's going to be nice. And
visibility on the graph of people who watch their networks will go up very dramatically when we start putting stuff that's relevant to us on there and stuff that represents the way the audience looks. When we put that on that screen, people will drop what they're doing and watch it as a breath of fresh air.
Wow. I'm telling you, the new technology now with all the possibilities, now people just can't say, I can't do it.
That's
they
right.
Just have they got to have that hunger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my key to the young people is no such thing as impossible.
Yeah.
If you watch the Olympics, you can agree with me.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Mm-hmm.
Boy, I have never been so proud of America, the representation it had of its athletes, and then the Caribbean. My God, what a display of sportsmanship and speed. Incredible.
I know. We live in a great time right now. I mean, it's possible. I mean, hey, we have President Obama and Michelle Obama in the house. That had to be great because I think, let me see, what was I read that happened about 8 days before with your organization. It'll come to me. I went completely blank. But let me just get your thoughts on that. I mean, how did you feel, being able to be here during this time, having our first black president?
Well, I remember meeting him, emceeing the Congressional Black Caucus that year, and he introduced himself to me. My name is Barack Obama, and I'm running for president. And my mind said, sure, you're right. There's this young man looking like he's getting ready to do Hollywood. He's just very strong. I said, my God, if he'd win, what a millennium. But I'll support him because he's the best candidate around, but there's no shot. And then he called, and I started doing a little stuff here and there, and the man won. And during the inauguration, I was standing there with Cicely Tyson, and he's got his hand, and he had to correct the man with his hand during the inauguration, if you remember. The man had to start over again.
Oh, yeah.
And he had his hand on that Bible. And what happened when he took that hand off the Bible and things were finished, I had to catch Cicely because she kind of collapsed.
Really? Wow.
And then I caught her. We both went down to the ground, to the lawn, and she was sobbing. And then I started sobbing. I didn't know why. But finally, it's like a movie that has sped up. You know how movies sometimes speed up and it goes to the end of the reel?
Mm-hmm.
Every scene was all the stuff that had happened until Barack Obama was elected president. Lynchings, race riots, all kinds of stuff was going out of our minds. We didn't have to worry about it anymore. And it was over. And when we got up off the lawn, we started hugging and kissing people.
I know. Boy, I tell you, that was an exciting time. I mean, to see the tears of the people in the audience that was standing there, never will forget that moment, for sure.
It's a piece of history.
Yeah, piece of history. We're going to give you a chance to take a sip of water. We got a few more minutes, and then we're going to open up the line and take some questions. Just want to remind everyone that you are tuned in to the Amazing Women of Power Radio Network, and now we're proud to say also the Amazing Men of Power Radio Network. And this is the world's leading positive programming network. We're all about creating positive programming 24 hours, 7 days a week. Check us out. Sunday, we have our spiritual, family, children programming. Monday, empowerment, encouragement, and uplifting shows. And we also do those on Tuesdays, along with we have book reviews and our celebrity interviews, which you'll be hearing this one if you tune in next Tuesday. And also Wednesdays, we have health, metaphysical, law of attraction. Thursdays, it's all about helping you to create a business and finances. We're all about the cha-ching on Thursday, so make sure you tune in if you're inspired to be a home-based business owner, or you're looking for investments, or you want to straighten out your finances. Thursday's the day. Friday, we give it up to the guys. It's our amazing Men of Power, so ladies, show them some love, too. Come and listen on Fridays. And then Saturdays, we mix it up with the best of the best, some of the best programming that you miss, and we want to make sure that you don't miss it. We play those on Saturdays. How can you find us? By going to AmazingWomenOfPower.com, or a short URL, AWOP, AWOP, Talk247.com. We're here tonight. This is an intimate live taping with, multi-talented, Oscar-winning, award-winning, one of the most respected actors out there. I'm talking about none other than Lou Gosset Jr. His book, An Actor and a Gentleman. Oh, you got to check it out. This book portrays the celebrity glitz and glamour to offer an honest, heartfelt portrayal of an African-American experience both in Hollywood and the New York theater world. Check it out, and we're going to give you that website in a few moments, as well as we're going to tell you a little bit about his foundation. It's the Racism Foundation, and he has such a passion for it. So we're going to come back and talk more with Lou. Lou, your foundation is just great, and I've checked out a lot of what you had to say about how important it is, you feel, as far as us having and owning up, let me say owning up, not having, but owning up to the responsibility of being mentors to our youth. I'd like for you to share your thoughts on that.
It's so important. Back in the day when I was raised, everybody had, there was not as much television. Telephones were black and heavy. There was old women in the window keeping us together. And if we got bad, they'd have to. I'm going to tell your mama
in a minute.
So we kind of had a thing. If we do it bad, we had to look over our shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line for all these children was that you had to respect. There's a foundation that was given to us because we couldn't afford not to. So grandmother was in charge, or my great-grandmother was in charge of my family, and sometimes 17 of us. Well, there's certain behavior patterns and responsibilities that we had to do whether we liked it or not. We had to make our beds. We had to wash our own socks and underwear. We had to show up to breakfast on time. Sometimes we had to pick some of the fruits and vegetables if we were in the South or in the Brooklyn. And sometimes we had to make sure that we were neat in our bedrooms, and we showed up and clean, and with no dirt behind our ears, not fingernails. And we enjoyed one another. We had respect for one another. And then when we got out there, we were well-dressed and clean, hygienically. We had some spirituality that we had to pray for. We were set. By the time we went to school at 6 years old, there were certain things set in our system. They did not pass any poisons down to us. We had to come up with that positiveness on our own, but we had a foundation. And when we went to school with that foundation, and as a result of that foundation, that's where the integrated schools came from, because we added a positive when we mixed up with the other children because of that foundation. That practice has stopped. And you can tell the success of some of our African-American successful people who have fallen from grace and never got back up. And you can also tell the success of those who had that foundation and had a little negative in their life and came back to life and became better. And that specific person is a man by the name of Magic Johnson. He had that foundation from his family so that when he had that problem, most of us would have gone belly up.
Yeah.
And that man is 10 times larger and 10 times more important and 10 times more grateful than he was before.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of my heroes. We all, as African Americans, as minorities, have that opportunity to learn, to teach our young people a certain bunch of rules. And we can go back to that responsibility. We're not thinking about ourselves anymore. That's when we get selfish. Our job is to mentor the next generation that's younger than us, and mentor them as best we know how. Whether we've been in school or intelligent, our job is to mentor those young people. Their job is to mentor people younger than them. That's the way we used to do it.
Keep it rolling. Mm-hmm.
And keep it rolling. It's called each one, teach one.
Each one, yeah.
So that when we see somebody who may not be in our family and we see them doing wrong, we have to say, hey, brother, no, consider this. Why don't you be nicer to that woman? Maybe if my grandmama once said that you get more bees with honey than you get with vinegar. Come on. And then the women who have been abused and hurt, who raise their children by themselves so beautifully, is wonderful. But how much better would that child be if that man came back with a responsibility and apologized to that woman? And how much better would that woman be if she forgave him just for the sake of the next generation? So as we go through this door of opportunity, our backyard has got to be cleaner than this to assume the proper responsibility of a democratic family. And we're getting close. We're in the promised land. That's what we can do for the entire country. Come clean and assume the proper responsibilities of kings and queens that we really are. We can't assume that until we attain that right by doing some introspection. With God being in charge or Allah, it doesn't matter. But if we go in the right direction, we're met halfway. That's our responsibility.
Love that. So that brings us to the Racism Foundation, Inc.
That's what our young people learn inside the Racism Foundation. With some of our professors around this country, of course, there's the spirituality. You pray to whom you think is stronger, and you have a system of prayer and acknowledgement. And then you get into a conflict resolution where you have you can disagree, but you don't have to go to war with it. You just agree, stay on the same planet. Then you've got the physical fitness. You got those trainers that want to jump into this Shamba Center, I call it, SHAMBA Center, where they're at their best. Thank you, Michelle Obama, for that. Then you go into the knowledge of our history. And there's documentaries. There's people who speak about that. And they've closed the gap of knowledge so that we know upon whose shoulders we stand and how long our culture is and how prolific it has been. So we have to know that knowledge as we go along in our life. Dress code. The dress code has to have a pride in it. And we have a fashion called Afrofusion, where you can take a suit 5 ways, and it can go from a tuxedo to a leisure suit in 5 ways. But when you wear it, you behave a certain way. You have pride. It hasn't been like that since the dashiki. So our children and our people represent themselves properly. They conduct themselves properly. And finally, the hood that used to have the relationship of being a dangerous place to visit has to clean up their act and open our hands and invite all other people to the hood to eat, to enjoy themselves, and feel safe so they can spend their money and invest in our neighborhoods, open their businesses, eat at our restaurants, and enjoy life with us as we welcome them. So you see, we have the driver's seat here, just like they had in South Africa. I had a chance to ask Dr. Mandela, after all that's been done to you and your people, how come you weren't mad when you came out on Robben Island? And he looked at me and he said, there's a bigger picture. Because of that bigger picture, South Africa is one of the greatest countries in the world. So can this country be. But we have the steering wheel. It's up to us. As great as we are, it's up to us to go to that next level.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility.
And we have to step up to it.
That's right, baby.
We have to own it.
Yeah.
And
we
claim
can't
it.
get mad at nobody. We can't. No, ain't got no
Gotta
time.
get past that.
No time to get mad.
Yeah. It
The
holds us back.
The worst resentment we can have is the one we feel justified to keep, and it gives us cancer and diabetes and high blood pressure.
Yeah, show you right.
We need to eat vegetables and fruit and work out and be with God and do good for ourselves and our children.
But you have said a lot, and we honor your time, and we're going to open up the lines in a second and see if we have a couple questions, and then we're going to let you go. But before we close out, you said a lot, and I mean, so much here. But I'd just like for you to maybe share one tip for those people that seem to give up on their dreams. They've had these defeats, Lou. They keep falling, and they're just getting tired. What one word of encouragement can you give them?
I can say something like God is in charge all the time. But that's one thing. He's always going to throw some challenges at us. And we have a different attitude about them. We can create this wonderful, we're going to be happy if you fill in the rest. It's all between our ears, which is most of the time a dangerous place for the human being. You make a decision unilaterally between the ears without a prayer and a meditation. Because what seems to happen is that if we don't get what we think we deserve, we're not prepared for the other doors that are open for us. So the thing is, when one door closes, 5 doors are open, but we have to be knowledgeable that that's what happens. So there's no such thing as impossible. Life ain't over until it's over, that Yoga Berra says.
Hey.
Keep our minds and our spirits open for the possibility of this. If one thing doesn't come, if that door closes, more than 2 or 3 will open. And that has to do with a blind faith to the bone that God is in charge and He's got something for you.
And you better recognize.
Recognize it when it comes, because it does come every day.
Yeah, don't let it slip by.
Yeah, you say, oh, there goes one now.
There you go. Life is precious.
Yeah.
Lou Gosset Jr., he is our featured guest. Make sure you check out his book and check out his website. There's just so much to this man. Follow him. Lou, how can we help support you in your racism foundation?
First of all, change yourself. Work on yourself. And you will be driven or be led to how you can help me. I'd like to have one of these centers in every major city. So I need to start the first one. The first one's probably going to be out here on the West Coast, but maybe not. This year, I think we'll open the first one, and then we can go from there. It's a service. I want to get out of the way with you experts who know how to do this. I've created this thing. So it's like a yeshiva. It's like a synagogue. It's like a temple. But this is a part aside from school to prepare us to be heir apparent, to be 100% citizens of this country and this world. How do you do that? The lessons are inside this Shamba Center. So how you can do that? Take care of yourself. Go to that place. Read the book. Read some of the literature that I recommend. And join us. And the answers will come to you.
We are there. Hey, I am doing that. Yes, sirree, and I encourage everybody else to check him out.
That's what
Make sure
doing.
His book is An Actor and a Gentleman. Hey, just looking at chapters, there's so much in there for him. I mean, I'm just looking at some of the chapters now. What is that? The Bubble Burst Hollywood, Twice as Good.
Yeah.
Man.
They told me what I was.
Hooked on Theater.
Yeah.
Finding My Place, Fatherhood. Yeah.
You got it.
So much in there. Check him out. And also go to eracismfoundation.org. That's eracismfoundation.org. There's lots of information on that site. It's a wonderful, wonderful site filled with information. And what a great, great program. I'm so glad that you are definitely making a difference in so many ways and paying it forward. What you're speaking to schools and children. Some of the...
it seems to work most of the time, especially the troubled schools.
Yeah, troubled schools.
You can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
They want to know. And at the end, they all want to touch you.
Yeah, they're hungry for the information. They're thirsty for it. Absolutely, and you give it to them. Well, let's open up the lines and see if we have a couple people that want to say hello, and then we'll close it out. Okay, let me see if you have a quick question that you want to ask Lou, just hit *2, and let me see. Let's open up the lines and see if anybody's there. Okay, if you're there, we'll take the first one.
Okay.
He's unhooking it now. Who we got on the line?
Hello.
Okay,
Hi.
we can take one person. First person, who do we have?
This is Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Quick question.
Well, thank you, Lua. It's a real pleasure and a privilege to meet you over the radio and hear everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
My radio show, I've been in safety for 30 years, and my radio show is devoted to helping people understand better safety and health risks so they make better choices and they live safer and healthier lives.
Well,
and
that's the system. That's the process, is it not?
Yes. And listening to your foundation, I wondered if, as you're reaching out to the children and encouraging them with respect and pride and their history, and is the safety and health kind of, what they can do for better nutrition and wellness and safer ways to live? Are those elements in there too?
Those elements are there. But if we open up a shopping center, then you can send us an email, and when we get into your territory, you will be able to contribute that information to those young people.
Yeah, well, great. I would love to.
All right, so you should join us that way by making sure we know how to find you through the eracismfoundation.org, your email and your name and your address, and when we get into that area, we will call you for that information and put on there your specialty.
Okay.
Awesome.
And that's what it's about, because what we're looking for, of course, is a movement. We have to build a society of people who do that naturally.
Yeah, good. Well, thank you. Because one of the things I do is
the Jews are wonderful. I admire them a great deal, because they go inside their synagogue and they come out in a unified, taking care of one another way. I highly respect for that. We need to copy that.
Yeah. Well, very good, and I would be delighted. So I'll take the action to reach out to the organization and email and see. I happen to be in the Florida area.
Okay, so we'll put you on our list. We'll know where you are, and once we look at it, hopefully, it's my dream that when I look at that list, I see representatives from all across this country.
Yeah,
if I have representatives from all across this country, then we can stitch you guys together to make some kind of powerful movement, some kind of powerful statement.
Well,
all righty.
Okay.
Yep.
Next person. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you.
Hello, Raven Blair Davis. How are you? This is Toria Green from LA 401 Magazine.
Hi, how are you, Latoya?
Hello, and Lou Gosset Jr., thank you so much for a wealth of knowledge and history. Very great exclusive. I have a question, and I have a show as well called The Green Room, and my show is centered around the artists and for the gamers, the youngsters, the youth. What could the artists let's say in our urban culture, rap, what could they do better to put a message out there? And are we going to do some PSAs with some people like Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, Jay-Z?
Well, they are Pied Pipers, are they not? They can, in 10 minutes, change millions of young people by the words and the behavior they use. So exactly. It can't be about money this time. It has to be of service. And they have to lead the young people down the right path. The right path, of course, is being compassionate to one another and not having any enemies and respecting the female, dress code, being ladies and gentlemen. And they can do that in 10 minutes. So we encourage them to use their power and their fame to instruct a generation that's following you, and of all colors, by the way, of being compassionate to one another. And they could do it in 10 seconds. A 10-minute show, they could do it.
Yeah,
we
I think
encourage them
the
to continue.
Key source. Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I think they're the key source.
I do too. They're our Pied Pipers. I like them a lot. I like all of them. But here I am as a mentor. I don't have their money or their power. And I would say for what it's worth, try it. Try an album about each step to uplift our children, the respect for the opposite sex instead of the whole. So you know where I'm coming from.
Absolutely. I have one last question. Are African Americans still looked upon as slaves?
Did you break up?
She said, are African Americans still looked upon as slaves?
Oh, I don't care what anybody looks upon me as like, but as long as I don't look upon myself that way.
There you go. That's a good answer.
You can look at me any way you want. If they're looking at our president, who has not behaved himself, they say here in California. What do they mean by behaving himself? So you have to look and you have to smile, because it's in the DNA of all of us. The old days are over, but we still act deeply like the old days. So if somebody looks at us like slaves, that's going to have to be their problem, as long as we don't look at ourselves like that, or look at them as the master. We're equal in this country. Okay?
It looks like we got
all right. We got time for maybe two more questions. Real quickly, we got Mary Smith and Regina Baker, and then we're going to cut it off there. Mary?
Hi, Mr. Gossett. This is Mary from Kristen's Destined to Reign, powered by Braven International. And I just want to say I love you, I'm proud of you, and I am so proud of the direction that you are taking. And I just want God to send you courage, strength. I want you to keep the faith, and God bless you. And I'm going to get off the line.
Well, God sent me, he saved me from cancer and all kinds of stuff, so I belong to him.
Yeah.
He saw fit. He said, I still have some work to do, and this is what it is.
Awesome. Okay, Regina Baker, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Gossett. So nice to meet you over the radio. I heard you say something very earlier in the conversation, and you said gefilte fish. And the first time I ever heard that was on a movie with Chris Tucker, and I thought it was not true. And then just to hear you say that, so it really is.
It's a Jewish dish.
I'm sorry?
Again, Lou.
The gefilte fish is a famous Jewish dish that was cooked in my neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Okay.
It was
and not too long. I'm sorry.
Lox was another. Lox and bagels was another. But what I tried to say is that if my parents didn't get home in time, I had a choice. I could have the gefilte fish, the lox and bagels, or the menudo from the Filipinos, or the fried chicken from the blacks, or the corned beef and cabbage from the Irish, or the lasagna from the Italians.
Wow.
I was invited to all those homes, and we were invited to one another's home. That's why I said it that way.
That's awesome. I saw you in a movie.
Yeah.
I saw you in a movie not too long ago. I was flipping the channel, and it was more of a outer space movie where
Enemy
there
Mine?
was I guess I don't remember the name of it, but the child was captured, and you fought until you got this child out of the camp. Was that the name of the movie?
No, that's another movie. Let's see. I have to remember that one. I don't remember that one.
Okay.
I didn't have the makeup on, did I?
Yes, you did.
I had the lizard. Did I look like a lizard?
Yes.
Well, that was Enemy Mine.
Enemy Mine,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's a good movie.
That was great.
And so the movie was after I gave birth to that child.
Yes.
Dennis Quaid went out and got that child out of the camp. I was gone by then.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's just an honor to listen to you on the show and to hear about your passion. And, I just want to tell you, I just admire your acting, and I admire your spirit. And thank you so much for sharing this time with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You have a blessed evening.
All right, everyone. With that said, we're going to go ahead and close it off. We went way over time. I'm sorry, Lou. I am so sorry. But this has been another edition of Raven Celebrity Rave, and we encourage you to make sure that you check us out by going to awoptalk247.com. This show is not about us. It really isn't. We bring on the celebrities like Lou Gossett and all the other celebrities we brought on, so to show you how passionate they are about giving back. It's not just about their fortune, their fame, their movies and stuff. They give back in that way, but they give back in a bigger way by hooking their wagon, so to speak, to a cause, to something that's close to their heart. We like to encourage you to do the same.
There's no such thing as impossible.
Oscar winner, Lou Gosset Jr., right here on Raven Celebrity Rave. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.